Hey guys, it's Nick here. Another project, so exciting. My wife said the garage door is not working. And when you press the button on the wall, like on there, it was having the grinding noise, but the door was no movement. So motor spinning, gears not running. And I went up, look at it. Well, pretty easy to look at the back panel. Have 4 screws on the 4 corners. Take out the screws and you can see that's the gear is all worn out on the edge. So the worm gear on the left is trying to turn and spin the center gear, trying to turn the gear on the top to bring the cable, bring the chains around to lift the garage door. But that didn't happen because the edge of this big gear is all chewed up. If you can see the inside, is all the white debris that's falling apart. That's all the debris from the grinding on the plastic gears. They're just not made to last, or not in my case. So what can I do? Get a new one. Here's the new garage door opener, Mastercraft, purchased in Canadian Tire. Everybody in Canada knows that brand. So that's half horsepower, and I've been using it on the other side of our garage since we have 2 doors. So it's been replaced a few years back. It's been doing pretty well. So I thought, might as well just match the same brand. Finally, I got that one loosened up. I have to get up to do that. And this door is being very well balanced. It doesn't take much of the force to open or close because the spring is taking most of the weight of the garage door. Okay, now we needed to take off the center beam and also the old garage door. Well, the first thing is removing the cable. The cable was pretty tight. Sorry, not the cable, I mean the chain. And to remove the chain, you need to make some slack, which is here. You have the adjustment. This is a 1/2 inch nut. Just grabbing a 1/2 inch wrench if you have, and loosen it up. The cable is dripping or is dropping there, is carrying a lot of weight. And make it very hard to lose the end of the nut. I can finger it. Once you give it enough slack, you can push the cable out, and then you can remove it from the gear. So once you can take the chain out of the gear, then you can just remove the chain entirely, and then afterwards undo the bolts over there and the bolts on the garage door opener. You can lower the beam here, and once the beam's removed, then you can start working on take off the garage door opener. The new one will come with a new beam that is in pieces, need to be put together. Okay, I take out the pin, this guy. So just take the screw all the way out, and now the chain is down. This whole beam is held by a pin going that way in the bracket. On this side, there's 2 bolts holding this beam in. It was this guy in here and another one on the other side, which I already take them out. So now you can see I can move them around because it's not braced anymore. So I could just removing the pin over there and take this beam down. All right, I've taken this beam down. This is a heavy one, so just time to remove this the garage door opener. Then we can open up a new one and to replace it. Before we take off this old garage door opener, we need to disconnect these cables here. From what I can think of, there's 3 terminals here. I'm not sure what this red one is, but I think the other one, or it marked 2 and 3, those 2 are probably the sensor. Because usually on the bottom of a garage door, they have 2 laser beams. Either they both shooting, or one is an emitter, another one is a receiver. So they're running a signals crossing the bottom, just in case you have an animal or little kids just running across the door, and you already press the button, the door is going to come down. So it's going to kick in and send a warning signal. The door will come to a stop and rise up again and open up again. So it'll prevent it from killing your kid or your pet in extreme cases. So before I take off this old opener box, I just need to remove these or disconnect these 2 cables or these 3 cables, and then remove the screws down here. Then I take the box off. Now I have taken off the old one, and this is the new one. You can see how different they are. It's almost only the half of the size of the old one. So they give us as a challenge. Okay, it's a little hard to show you guys with hands, it's heavy here. So looks like I need to adjust the 2 of the vertical beams. Let me just put it down on the ladder. So I think I need to move this in by 2 holes, and the right one move left by 2 holes, and keep the center line the same. So let's try that first. Okay, I made some adjustment. As you can see, I narrowed the 2 vertical beams inwards, and so they can, right now everything's still loose. You can see I can still wiggle them and move them around, and put the bolts through into the center of the gravity. That's the 2nd hole from the right. And I haven't gotten everything tied down yet because I just want to leave some slack in case I need to do some adjustment. And right now I'm using this hole as the cross brace, but I feel like everything is a little tilting to the right. So I'm probably going to loosen that one up and find a better spot to do the brace and refix it. Here's some updates. I got this one all fixed, readjusted the brace, everything's solid. I removed the end of the wall clip, and I reassembled this beam. They made it being a lot easier now. They're just having everything that you can, ooh, did I slide out that way? You can literally just take it apart. Ow! And on this end, I have installed this the wheel bracket. On the other end, I have well, they just fall off. On the other end, they have the gears. This is the time for you to open up the instruction manual. So it has all the step-by-step and how to put things together. Just follow the instruction like putting the IKEA furnitures together. Or just like putting the Legos together, right? Okay, I'm at a stage that I have installed this the cable and the chain onto the motor. I'm ready to install it back into where it was. Then I find out that this the spring bars in the way. With such a large angle, it just won't make it. I'm just trying to think how should I, either I can remove the bracket and move it a little higher so I can have enough room, or I'll support my motor on a different support so it can reduce the angle, so I can install and mount that part first, then I can install it to that part afterwards. Let me think about it. Okay, under the help from my wife, and we got this side attached and also get this side attached. If you can see that, the original location of the brace is in the front, and it won't be able to reach the brackets on the opener. So I used the 2 of the extension brackets that supplied with the new motor, new opener. So build a horizontal extension. So put a 1 bolt here to attach to the existing brace, and also it will allow me to utilize the later part or the longer part of the extension so I can mount my door opener. It's getting late tonight, so I'm gonna take a break and continue tomorrow morning. Okay, I'm back on Saturday morning. We finished mounting the motor yesterday, and I've done so far this morning is I connected these arms to the garage door. I actually replaced this bracket, but after I took it out to compare the old and new one, looks like identical. So I replaced it with a new one anyway. For those multi-section garage doors, they recommend using this the bend version. If you have a 1-piece garage door just tilts when you open, you only need this long single piece. You don't need to make a connection between. And it was a little tricky to tie the rope to figure out what's the best easy way. So I guess you just need to keep trying until it's high enough not catching by a car, and it's low enough that you can reach when you lift your arms. The next challenge will be do the wiring, and I need to read the instructions, read the manual to figure out what is the right way to route them out. When you finish doing the connection, you want to do a test. So you could just grab the handle, and you could be able to lift it up And with the balanced door, it should, oh, did it get caught already? Yeah, with the balanced door, it should be fairly smooth when you're lifting the door by pulling, just manually pulling it. Because one day when there's a power outage, but you need to get out of the garage door, that's the way how you escape. So you have to test it, make sure it's working correctly. So now time to do the connection of the wires. I noticed all three of them tying together. That very likely that's a negative line. And those two were tying together. That's likely for the two of the sensors. And this guy stand alone. And I remember that was on the red colored terminal. So very likely that's just the power. So I don't really care about all these negative. I only need the two signals. One is the feed of the terminal for the sensors. One is the power. So I think I will using this guy to the feed of the power, and using those two going to the sensors. See if that'll work. Okay, now I plug in the power, and like I said before, one of the wires was by itself. I think that was the signal from the wall. Another two was twisted together. Those two is more likely the sensor. So before I start testing, I pulled the door in and engaged this the door to the chain. So this is the latch that when you're pulling down. Oh, this thing's not really smooth operating. I think it's crappy connection there. So it's supposed to be when you go and pull it down, will disengage. Then see, I can manually pulling my door up and down. So the moment you're engaged, the ideal case is the instruction says you don't see anything in the middle. So this is the notch matches the notch on the plastic. So now it's engaged. Oops, I'm just testing it, and I knock myself out of alignment again. Okay. Should be going to the right a little. Yeah, I yanked it to the right and now it's engaged. Okay, let's see if I can press the button. Okay, I put all the wires in and I try to program the high limit and the low limit, which is fairly easy. You have three buttons, like follow the instruction. It says press the set for 5 seconds, and then we'll blink into mode 1. Then mode 1 is the high limit, so you just keep pushing upwards until the door is to the high limit. Well, make sure that this the movement it was before hitting the limit, because they have a little hook was installed here. That was the limit of the movement. So you bring this one to here before hitting the limit. That should be fine. And then you press the set again for the low limit, which is you manually bring the door down. Hold the button of the down button all the way till the door fully closed. So that's the setting the limits. And then press again to go to mode 3, which you need to go to the wall. You press on the wall the button to open the door. It would all the way opens, and then the mode number 4, which is confirm the close button, which you need to go to the wall to press the button again. That's when I have an issue. It won't close. It have like a flashing the light like 12 times or 10 times, something like that, and showing a number 6 on it, or maybe letter B. So I figured something went wrong. It's probably the sensors not giving it the power, so it's not allowing to close, because there must be a safety limit switch there. I noticed the cables when I detach them. I broke the tip of the brass part, so the metal part. It gets very short. Maybe it didn't really get the full connection to my old sensors, because I didn't really want to reroute the wire to put in the sensors. I just want to reuse the old ones. So I'll clean up the terminal of the wires. Maybe like expose the metal a little bit longer, and then I'll put them back into the terminal, and hopefully that'll solve the problem for me. Here we go. I found out the problem. That's exactly what as I was described. So if you can see here, I have put all the wires back in. The two on the left is for the sensors, and the two on the right is for the switch button on the wall. So I have successfully programmed all the way through. Now I can close the door without a problem. So I also programmed my little switch here. Here we go. It's going down. That's the simplest way to replace the door opener without removing the existing equipment. And you can see there's a light on the sensor. That light is on. It means the two sensors are in alignment. And on the right, so they're both working fine. See the green light? Yeah, pretty much done. Now that's it. If you feel this video is helpful, click the like button or subscribe or drop me a note, whatever you feel like to. Any questions, let me know. Maybe I can shine some light on your problems too. Okay, see you next time. Here's a summary of a few tools I used for this project. I used a 1/2-inch wrench here, open end wrench. I had a small socket ratchet set. This is a 12mm. I also used a 10mm for some of the screws. And a bigger one, this is the 1/2-inch ratchet. 1/2-inch socket was mostly used for adjusting the existing brace. The existing brace was all using the 1/2-inch, those bolt heads and the nuts. So that's what's used. And the 12mm one was used for the new one that provided. So if you can imagine, I used a 1/2-inch to adjust the existing ones, and they provide me the new ones, which is only a 12mm. So I have to carry 2 sets of a wrench when I was here. Also, you need a flathead screwdriver. Should have it on my couch there. The flat screwdriver, mainly used to press in those orange prongs. Once you press it in, you'll open up the clamp inside the hole, so you can insert a wire and to grab the metal part to make a contact. Of course, you will need a ladder. Otherwise, how can you reach that high, right? So that's pretty much it. It's not really hard job to do, especially when you're replacing the old one. Already having all these sensors installed existing, already have the power coming from the wall, which you just plug it in. And you're already having those the braces existing from the previous door opener. So it makes life a lot easier to just do a replacement compared to a brand new install. Alright, hope this is helpful for you guys. Good luck.